Since we set up the lock wager, we also want to make sure that the wager is locked when we're dealing the cards. So when we initiate the deal of the cards, let's run that and toggle it to be true. So no matter what, as long as we're dealing out cards, if the player presses the deal button, that we're going to not enable any more adjustments to whatever the bet is. So whenever the game is in play, we're not updating any of the bets. So we hit deal. We don't want to be able to enable the bet amount. So this should actually be disabled, and we should color the bet button to be grayed out as well as the disabled area. And if you look to inspect the code, you can see that this input style has been disabled. So let's do a condition if tog, and that means that if tog is true, then we're going to set the game bet button style and background color to be a grayed out color, and we'll also gray out the input bet style also. And if it's not, then we're gonna reset them back to being black and white. So let's see how that works. So we hit deal. This is all grayed out. Deal, stand, dealer busted. And then we need to also unenable the ability for the wager. So this is something else that we need to run as the game is enabled once again. So whenever we complete the calculations of the set winner, we'll set the lock wager to be false. And of course, we also have to update the amount of money that's being set and available. So refresh, deal, stand, and now the bet amount is once again enabled. It's disabled, deal. And you do have to sometimes play through it a few times just to make sure you catch everything. And within the set winner, where we're determining the winner, we also need to update the cash for the winner. So if the player wins, then their game cash is going to equal whatever the game cash value is plus the game bet. And this is for a draw. So this is essentially returning back the money to the player. If the player wins, then they get twice whatever the game bet is, multiplied by 2, returned back to their cash. So they get their original bet back, plus they get what their winnings were. And we also need to have a condition to check for the game cash. If it's less than 1, so that means that the player essentially is broke. And we need to set the game cash to equal to 0. And game bet is also equal to 0. So let's try that, and we're gonna just bet the full amount. Deal, stand, dealer score 20, so the dealer wins. So the player has 0 cash, and the player's betting 0 because they're not able to bet anymore. So even whatever they deal, whatever money they've got here, it doesn't matter because it's still working off of what their cash value is. And going into the score function, so if any one of the totals that we're checking the value, if it's over 21, that means that the game is over, and we're simply going to return back whatever the value of the total is. So this is just another fail-safe, just to make sure that in case we do detect that the game is over, that we take the appropriate action. So this is another function that we can run whenever we want to shut the gameplay off. We just go to game over, and let's create that function. And game end. And what game will end will do is it will turn off the ability to hit the buttons and turn off the game button stand, and also will log into the console that it's ended. So that means that somebody got 21. And then also where we're updating the count, we want to check to see if the dealer got a blackjack right off the bat. And if they did, then we know that we need to find the winner right away. So there's no use continuing the gameplay if the dealer has a blackjack. And this is commonly done within blackjack games. So if the dealer is equal to 21 and game dealer hand length, remember this is the array that contains all of the cards, is equal to 2, that means that the dealer is holding a blackjack. So here we can check the game status and output the text content to the user that the dealer got blackjack. And we actually want to end the game. And we want to game end function. We'll just run that. And that's going to turn off the button hit and the button stand. And then we also need to make sure that we run the find winner function, because that means the game is over, essentially. Let's go back up to our code. And we know that we can update and we can trigger some blackjacks. So let's just make sure that everything is working. And you also might want to update some of your code so it works differently, just to make sure that sometimes there is a case that you do need to update and tweak it and test it. So it's easy that you can just simply adjust the different card values that are going to be presented to the player. And this is a great way to test it. So we see that we've got two different blackjacks there. Draw, no winners, 21. And in this case, we got dealer score 20, you win 21. Deal. So whenever it's hitting 21, it's just showing all of the cards if either one of them are hitting 21. We've got take or stand or take another card. So this probably means that the dealer has 20 and we have 20 as well. So we'll just stand. And that's correct that the dealer did have 20. So all the gameplay is working as expected. So draw once again. And sometimes it is worthwhile. You got to play through a bunch of times just to make sure everything is working properly. So coming up next, we'll do a few final tweaks and adjustments just to make sure that everything is working as expected. And then we'll do a quick run through of all of the code. That's still to come.